Chaotic moments on paternity court.
I feel bad for him if he really feels like
Girl,
that.
you don't be quiet.
I do.
Be quiet.
I'm just
Feel bad for somebody now. Be quiet.
She slept with my cousin, Your Honor.
What?
Exactly what?
Are not his father.
I wasn't with anybody else.
Obviously, you were with someone else.
Letting your ex move on from your life is not always easy, especially when a woman has pulled back the strings of her past. Here, the plaintiff dragged her ex-husband and his wife to prove the paternity of her daughter because they didn't accept and ignored the existence of the little girl. But Mr. Wallace said he had no problem supporting her unless proven wrong today. So to clear the plaintiff's claim, a DNA test is required.
Me and Ryan has been honest with each other in the past. I know exactly how many kids Ryan has. I'm not sure if she knows. He was there when I told him I was pregnant, and if he was at home being a husband, then we wouldn't be here in DNA court because I don't sleep around with people's husbands.
Running around.
Chasing cats in the street.
The defendant said they had moved on and both of them were doing their things, except for just one night when they slept together. Upon this, the plaintiff questioned him of unequal treatment of their daughter, and she continued telling the story of that galaxy night with Mr. Wallace.
I tell him the story about these people who's married, and I'm telling him, why would I sleep with a married man when I got my own husband? He took me all the way to Orion's belt. I saw the moon and the stars and the sun and Orion's belt. I knew, oh, yeah, that's mine.
The starry night must be really heavy around the sun, stars, and moon. Hearing the story, the defendant said it was just a one-time thing, but the judge asked the plaintiff about her pregnancy, and Mama said she got to know about it just after 3 weeks.
I felt it as soon as I got back down, I woke up and came back to reality. Oh, I just had sex with my husband.
And you said, I think I'm pregnant, or you just knew it was a possibility?
I thought I was pregnant.
Mr. Wallace, I want to hear from you, because at that time, you're still legally married.
I told her we gotta do it. I have to do what I have to do to take care of the baby.
A woman's honesty cost her badly. The plaintiff admitted that she slept with someone else without using protection, but upon the judge's question of his doubts, she explained how things created doubt in his mind.
Did you have unprotected sex with someone?
Yeah.
Did you have unprotected sex with anybody during the window of time when a Raylan was conceived?
No. He always want to try to say, oh, she looked more and more like me. I said, I don't know who she looked like, because she's light-skinned. So if she's light-skinned, I'm not going to just be like, oh, she looked like you. I'm not about to go through all of that.
The judge asked the defendant about the time he was intimate with her, and he told the dates, but forgot their daughter's birth date. They discussed the conception dates, and it was revealed that the plaintiff was right, but here she had to add more to create doubts.
That adds up with her testimony that you are the biological father. Were you intimate, Ms. Wallace, with any other person slightly before or after this estimated window?
I don't think it was that window, but I was with somebody about 5 days before him.
You do understand that all of these things are estimations.
Yeah, I do.
Her testimony is getting shady now. Then, both parties started arguing about matching eyebrows, which the judge had completely forgotten about, so they shifted their focus on the facial features chart. Oh boy, now eyebrows have more validation than a DNA test? Then the defendant explained the relatedness of the feature to his kids.
I have the strong arch of eyebrow. Of all my other kids, my son have them, my daughter have them. Raylan doesn't have my strong arch eyebrows.
That's not going to change the DNA result. I don't know why you feel like she's not yours because of the eyebrows. I felt like she was yours because of what we did and how you acted after I told you I was pregnant.
In the end, the judge asked the defendant's wife about the doubts, and she agreed with the defendant's testimony. Man, the eyebrow game is going very strong here. She also shared the plaintiff's tactics to use her daughter for revenge.
So you are really doubtful about this baby, and you're reinforcing this doubt in your husband. And you're also telling her she doesn't have to call and ask for different things. But if she doesn't have them and the baby needs them,
Automatic sentence, exactly.
so you believe the calls are just trying to disrupt your marriage?
Yes.
The plaintiff lost her strength and called him a cheater and said he always made new families in different states. She also complained about how he treated them when they needed him.
My baby 2 years old, he didn't even call my baby on her birthday. Yeah, I don't celebrate. Call her.
I respected you because I knew it.
It ain't no respect to it.
Did
Can
I call
say
her?
this? If it's about the baby, why they worried about me?
We video call her.
At the end of the day, I only call him when I want something. I don't want his lies. I don't want his time. I don't want none of that. If he's not gonna be there for our daughters, he can go on.
The plaintiff cried about her feelings and was right to claim support for her daughter. But to decide who's telling the truth, It was time to reveal the DNA results.
Mr. Wallace, you are not the father.
I feel bad for him if he really feels
Good
like
girl,
that.
don't be quiet.
I do.
Be quiet.
I'm just
Feel bad for somebody now. Be quiet.
A poor woman appeared in court to prove her ex-fiancé the paternity of her son, but Mr. Buckley not only denied it, but called her a cheater. FYI, the guy had cruelly thrown Miss Curtis and her 22-month-old baby out of his apartment. To settle things, we need a DNA test.
Miss Curtis, you say this court date is extremely important to you. You're here to prove to your ex-fiancé, Mr. Buckley, that he fathered your 22-month-old son, Xavier, because his denial has left you homeless and in need of help.
Yes, Your Honor.
The plaintiff cried about how she had to leave his apartment and had to go to a shelter house because of his landlord's notice. I'm sure you can imagine how hard things have been for this baby mama since then. But the defendant explained how things went wrong.
With him being in and out of our life and kicking us, not only me, but his son out of his apartment, we landed in a homeless shelter.
I didn't. I allowed her to live in my apartment at that time. I was being nice to her. She got mad at me because I was with someone else. I didn't want a relationship with her. She was gonna make my life a living hell while living in my apartment.
The judge asked the plaintiff about Mr. Buckley's treatment of the kid and said he loved him dearly and gave his name too. However, his doubt had taken over the best of him. Then, the defendant shared a shocking fact about himself.
I was in a relationship before and we tried to conceive a child, and that happened in not only that relationship, but with the following relationship that I was in.
So you've never believed you could have children?
No, Your Honor.
The defendant replied to the judge that he asked about the possible father from Miss Curtis, and she reverted over his statement that he walked away from responsibilities. Well, anyone in doubt would do the same. While they were on it, the plaintiff's words led them to an argument.
For living in my apartment, I allowed you to live in my apartment. You
And
left
still
because
didn't
I
come to
didn't want
see
to be
him.
with you.
No, I didn't leave because I didn't want to be with you.
Yes. Every
No.
time I came over there, it was pure heck.
We lived together
I
from
allowed
the-
you to. You had your own apartment.
Yes, but every time I went home, you asked us to come back over.
Yes.
Because
but
you
I
wanted to
had-
spend time with your son, and I wasn't standing between that.
But you are now.
Potential baby daddy continued that he knew about his condition, but still accepted the baby because he loved him. It doesn't seem fair that you just backed away from your role as a father so quickly. He then revealed that Miss Curtis had been having fun with other men around Christmas.
I know who you were with too, and it wasn't just me.
So staying at your house and spending Christmas with you? Who was I having sex with? Your brothers? Your uncle?
No.
Then, the plaintiff shared a memory that after giving birth, they were so joyous and worried about the baby's condition in the hospital, and now everything has changed. I'm feeling bad for the both of them.
My heart wants him to be, but my mind knows better.
If your mind knew better, why did you sign the birth certificate?
Because of my heart's.
Why did you sign the acknowledgement of paternity? You want to talk about you have doubts that you couldn't have kids? I went through chemo and radiation. They told me all my eggs were fried, that I would never be a mother. But I'm a mother to a beautiful little boy.
Then, the defendant brought his witness, Miss Bunch, to prove his allegations against Miss Curtis, and lots of shady information was revealed to the court. She used her building sketch from the time the baby's mother was pregnant to illustrate the baby mama's promiscuous behavior.
When we found out she was pregnant, she had a boyfriend. They were together.
So what you're saying is from your back door.
That's not true, Your Honor. I lived at the top of a hill. She lived at the bottom.
This
That
is
is true, yeah.
my house and this is hers.
And I lived on this end.
Her
She
back
lived on
door
this-
is right here.
There's a
I
straight
see
line of sight
everything.
from her back door to her
Everything.
front door.
Now, baby mama is in real trouble. Miss Curtis jumped in and denied her allegations and assured the judge that she wasn't messing around during her relationship with Mr. Buckley. She also stated that during her conceiving time, she and her alleged father were just casually involved with each other. This led to questioning the alleged dad about his child support dues, and he gave his reasons.
You signed it voluntarily.
Yes, Your Honor.
And is there a child support order?
Yes, Your Honor.
How much per week are you obligated to pay?
I'm not exactly sure.
He was supposed to pay $216 a month, and then when he quit his job, they dropped it down to $80 a month.
Your Honor, I just got my first child support statement in the mail, so it's not like I've been neglecting it.
The weight of lies was heavier on the plaintiff's shoulders because she couldn't keep her story straight against the defendant. So the judge ended the testimony, and the court was ready for the results.
Mr. Buckley, you are not his father.
I wasn't with anybody else.
Obviously, you were with someone else.
Jesus, Lord.
Your Honor, I'm still willing to be in Xavier's life. The way he looks at me, the way he runs up to me.
A man tightly stuck in the web of lies made by his girlfriend appeared in the court to remove his name from the paternity of a daughter and to get rid of the deceiving partner, while Ms. Himes stood strongly with her claim.
Caitlin was my first daughter. She tricked me into thinking that the other guy had done got a paternity test on Caitlin. She tricked me into thinking that family was something sacred.
You believe she was intentionally deceitful?
Yes.
This woman had a lot of mess spread around everywhere, but she only caught this poor man on her web. The defendant told that she only slept once with the other guy when she was in a relationship with Mr. Jordan. Then she shared her confidence about his paternity.
I just came today to show everybody on the streets, his family members, my family members, he's the father and I'm tired of it.
It's upsetting you.
Yes.
And it's because you feel like they're lying on you? Because Mr. Jordan says you consistently lie.
Because my daughter, she's old enough to realize.
Then the plaintiff shared his love for the baby girl and his activeness in daddy duties despite all doubts. You won't believe what this man went through. Listen to his surprise, the heartbreak moment where things fell apart in the first place.
Altercation or whatnot, like an argument. It wasn't even an altercation, an argument. She said something about this family member's in front of this family member's boyfriend or whatever. So the family member turned around and was like, well, why you ain't told Chris that he's not Caitlin's dad? At that moment, it was just like, I was more in shock than it.
This doesn't end here. The poor boyfriend has more to say. The plaintiff continued that he was so confused to know that his alleged baby was sitting on another man's lap. Yes, that was a dope joke. After this, the defendant explained the story of the secret picture.
Who does she think her father is, Mr. Jordan or Santavius?
Chris, all I said was that I was pregnant when I first found out I was pregnant. I did not say it was his child.
So are you saying he assumed he was the father?
I feel like he assumed that it was his, but it's not his, it's Chris.
The defendant continued and said she told the other guy about the pregnancy and he might have gotten mistaken over it, and she shared everything with him. This doesn't make any sense here. It was too unbelievable that even the judge asked Mr. Knight about that picture, which led to more unconvincing events.
She told when she got pregnant, she like, I'm pregnant. I'm like, what you telling me for? She like, well, it's not Chris, cause me and Chris been together a year and a half, and we ain't got pregnant. Soon you touch me, I get pregnant. You know
No, he's lying. When I came back in town in April, I had sex, and then I found out I was pregnant in June, so how is that possible? I just called him and let him know that I was pregnant.
The judge asked the defendant to reveal the truth, but she kept repeating the same things. Man, this is too much lying. I mean, it's beyond funny at this point. Mr. Knight couldn't stop himself and simply exposed more of her lies.
They try to get me over to come smash that a month ago. Come on, stop lying.
You said she just tried to get you to come over a month ago?
To her house.
Told me that
Yes,
same
Mr.
thing too, Your Honor.
How I know
A
what
month
to
ago.
say.
What did she say?
Hey, I need somebody to come over here and stay with me, cause you know my new dude tripping and yada yada yada.
Exactly.
Now for real. That's irrelevant to what the matter at hand.
The defendant's lies were unbearable for both the judge and the plaintiff. Her story was weak and unsettling. The mess she created took a toll on her life, and the judge had to call for results to end this case.
The biological father is Mr. Jordan. Mr. Jordan, you are Caitlin's biological father.
The after effects of your actions haunt you until you are left crumbled and hopeless, like in this trial. The plaintiff stood up to prove Mr. Pearson was the father of her daughter, but the boyfriend boldly denied only that baby, except for his other kids with Miss Gray. The defendant strongly doubted that a family member could be a possible father.
I would love to have my family all together because that's what I really came here for. He treats them way more better than he treats her. He buys them things, he don't buy her nothing.
Is that true, Mr. Pearson?
Yes, Your Honor, it is.
It is true.
Yes, it is.
Mr. Pearson, why do you doubt Kamaya is your child?
She slept with my cousin, Your Honor.
What?
Exactly what?
The defendant claimed that she slept with his cousin, and he caught them when the sideman secretly met her in his house. However, when he confronted his girlfriend, she lied to him till this day. Upon this, the plaintiff revealed the shocking reason for her infidelity.
It was revengeful because he left me in North Carolina when I was pregnant. I slept with his cousin several times too because
There you
it was
go. Now the truth come
revengeful.
out.
Mr. Pearson,
You
you
did it
were
more
never
than
told
once.
it happened more than once?
He told me that it happened, and I confronted her about it, and she lied to me, and she still lies to me about it.
The judge turned to the defendant to clarify the situation on these rocky sleepovers with the alleged cousin, and he said that he was told two different stories. one at the aunt's house and the second at the cousin's house. Then, the plaintiff added light to this matter.
I never told him that it happened at his aunt's house. I never said that. That never came out my mouth because I knew it didn't happen at his aunt's house. Neither the house that we was living in that he's talking about, because he wasn't working. I was the only one who was working in that house.
Either way it goes, if they was able to build relations then, at that present time, I'm quite sure they was able to build relations before.
Mrs. Denial is not strong, though. The judge asked Mr. Pearson about a possible father from the family, and he shared the resemblance of the kid with the cousin. Miss Gray cried that he always accused her of infidelity and defended herself with another shocking claim.
Have you ever told the cousin that he potentially could be Kamaya's father?
I told him that he wasn't the father. I told both of them to go get a DNA test.
She's the one that has to prove that this child is mine. I don't have to prove that this child is mine. If she was so interested in proving to me that I am the father, why she couldn't even get me a DNA test the day that baby was born?
Nothing makes sense here. So let's bring in the other father. The cousin said he knew about the pregnancy but was unaware of paternity, and the time frame created doubt in his mind. But listen to his testimony as he exposed her unsettling lies.
First, no, she was like, she's pregnant, and I was like, well, do you know who it is? And she was like, it's your cousin. But when the baby was born, she said, well, if it's anybody's, it's between you and your cousin.
So she admitted that she's gonna have to have a DNA test?
Yes, but if she didn't think that I was a father, why would she need a DNA test in the first place?
Yeah, he's right. If you're so sure, then why even ask about the DNA? Upon this, the plaintiff tried to defend herself by repeating the same old verses. But this time, her magic didn't work. Judge got sure that she was lying again.
The other Mr. Pearson has indicated that he counted back the dates from when you had Kamaya, and he felt like there could be a question of paternity.
Yeah, but it's not his baby. And I told him that several times that it's not his baby.
Do you believe that, Mr. Pearson?
No, I do not, Your Honor.
Was your cousin coming over the house before that time?
Yes, Your Honor.
The defendant said he didn't believe any word from her mouth and emphasized that one doesn't sleep with anyone unless one is involved with them. The guy was right. That's why Judge Lake turned to the cousin again about his interest in baby mama.
How do you do that to your cousin? Now, you know he's on his way going to work.
It wasn't like how he puts it. I wouldn't just come over there just because he'd be going to work or anything like that. They had a son there. I would always go over there to see DeMonte. I would go play with DeMonte.
It sounds like you went over to play with DeMonte and then you ended up playing with his mother.
No.
Well, it was a nice secret play date that went wrong. So the plaintiff clarified that she didn't sleep with the defendant's cousin until she moved in with Mr. Pearson, which is why the judge brought the sneaky cousin in to tell his side of the story.
It was just out of spite because I had such a strong bond with my ex. And when he went up there and had a baby by my ex, it just kind of broke me down. We're dealing with what we're dealing with, and I broke up with her, and you're gonna go up there and sleep with her, move in with her, and have a baby by her? Months on end before I even did anything, after he even slept with my ex.
I'll call it a spiteful foursome that we can add to our dictionaries. In the end, the judge was done with them and only asked the plaintiff about her hopes for a family, and she shared her thoughts on this.
I just want him to be a part of her life. I grew up without my dad, so I know how that feels. I don't want my child to grow up and be like, oh, where's my daddy? Where's my daddy? He was there all along, but he just didn't want to be. Waking up in the morning and you see your kids every day, you feed them and everything. I want my family.
The drama they played with each other was good, but only destroyed their lives to death. No one was strong enough to handle the consequences of their revenge. In the end, the court was ready for the results.
It has been determined by this court. The biological father is Mr. Theodore Pearson.
Can I see my daughter, Your Honor? I want to go be with my daughter now.